The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't clone you, but it can streamline your hiring workflow. From posting jobs to shortlisting candidates to interviewing, LinkedIn Hiring Pro is the hiring partner you need, so you can focus on connecting with the right talent. In fact, small businesses report saving over 6 hours per week. So hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
So as I mentioned earlier, coming up later on today, it is the Barrett Media Conference, I guess. I don't know the exact name of it. I know that it was once a year, and I did it a couple of months ago, and it was great. It was great. And every now and then I'll see a cool tweet pop up, and it's me being interviewed by Garrett C. Wright or Jason Barrett or somebody else. And they are constantly writing stories. Their great website every day, constantly writing stories about us. So I love these guys. You'll see Sid Rosenberg on Barrett Media's website at least twice a week. On a serious note, they really have become the industry standard. Jason Barrett works very, very hard. So now they've added this second conference on an annual basis, and it's all taking place later on today and tomorrow. So with that said, here he is, the new king of all media, Jason Barrett. Good morning, Jason.
You've affectionately dubbed me the new Stern, Sid?
Yes.
Come on, I didn't earn that stripe yet.
You kind of are. I mean, Stern, of course, had the TV, the radio, all that stuff. But in terms of covering the media, look, I went to Talkers Magazine conference a couple of weeks ago. I've loved Michael Harrison for many, many years. But you guys have taken over. You guys are the real number one at this point. Your website is great. Every day, news, sports, music, all aspects of radio. Nobody does a better job than you guys of covering it. So you deserve that title.
I appreciate it. The one thing, as you noted, you mentioned you were at another one a few weeks ago. I'm a champion of the industry. So to me, the more things that are happening that promote the business, that connect people, that share information, showcase the stars who make this industry go like yourself, the better.
Yes. You have always been very good about that, Jason. You're not one of those jealous, petty types, which I like about you. So I would imagine that the last conference went so well. I know I did a panel with 3 or 4 other really big-time radio guys. I really enjoyed Eric Erickson that day. That comes to mind. But it must have gone so well that you decided to do it again. And what can people expect today and tomorrow?
So today, and to your point, yes, it's done well. Like this year, we're doing one day of news, one day of sports, and actually a third day, which is music. That's the first time we're doing that. And it's because, as you noted before, we cover all of this, and we have connections with a lot of people in a lot of different places. So for today specifically, you're back there with Eric Erickson. We're bringing Larry O'Connor in, who you probably know, who's out of D.C., He's coming in for it. Mark Simone's involved, who has done some things with you guys. And so that'll be a big panel. We have Stephen A. Smith doing a conversation at the show. I've got the CEO of Odyssey, Kelly Turner. She'll be there. We have Adam Carolla with Buck Sexton and Jimmy Faillia to talk, to do a discussion with me. So that's on top of program directors, data analysts, a lot of different stuff, because to me, this is essentially a master class of the news talk media industry for anybody who works in the business. Everything from content to programming to sales to analysis of digital metrics, all those kind of things. That's what we're in there for. And so, anytime we can learn from people who are doing it at a high level, like your group, or, people who are running companies to tell us where things are going to go in the future, where they see the business moving. You come out of that room, and if you're there for an hour or 8 hours, depending on, what your day is, you're going to come out of there and make a lot of connections. You're going to learn a lot, and that's ultimately why we do it.
My friend Chris Olivero, who runs all the Odyssey stations, he was my intern 26 years ago at WNEW. He split the week between me and Gary Delabate, believe it or not. And he told me as a very young man, one day I'm going to run this company. At the time it was CBS, and he is. He's an amazing story. He'll be there. John Catsimatidis, you mentioned my group. And a guy that's very similar to Chris Olivero in that he's very, very young, and he's already top-notch programmer right at the very top with Chris. Getting an award later on today, my guy Chad Lopez.
Yes, I'm pumped about that. You know, we have an award ceremony that closes the show, and Chad's getting the Gold Standard in Business Award, rightfully so. You know, the work you guys have done with WABC from a turnaround standpoint, from a consistency standpoint, his leadership involved in that with John to, make sure the business continues to grow, the expansion of Red Apple Audio across the country. Now you guys have, the Worldwide News Network that just launched. And so just really impressed with the job he's done. Thrilled to give him his due. A longtime WABC program director, Phil Boyce, is getting the Gold Standard in Programming Award. He'll be there. And then we have a content award later that Mark Simone's getting, who's been, in the business for a long time, for decades. So, look, in the future, I'm going to have to come up with a Sid Rosenberg Award. The way this thing keeps going, it's just every year it becomes a really hard process. But, it's always well received. And I think it's important. Look, one thing I tell people, Sid, we want to educate and we want to challenge the industry on the website every day, barrettmedia.com. But we also want to do one other thing, and that's celebrate the industry. Because the one thing I've always believed, you put decades into this business, and later on in life, when it starts to slow down, you're just forgotten. And I've never understood that or agreed with that. I've always looked at it like sports. After your career's done, people should want the wisdoms. People should want to meet the stars who helped build it and connect, past to present to future. And so when we can do that and recognize greatness that has really impacted a business for a long time, I think that's so important. And I'm thrilled that Chad, Phil, and Mark will be there for that.
Yeah, me too. And, just to kind of move the Chad story to a bigger place for me, as you know, and you kind of alluded to it with making an award for me down the road, I was elected and will be inducted into the National Broadcasting Association New York Hall of Fame in October. And I was really happy that Donovan included the Barrett Media recognition when you guys recognized me as the top host in America just 2 years ago, and my radio show, the #1 morning show in America, just last year. You're part of that great press release. I love that. But it all started.
I'm proud of that.
Well, thank you. I'm happy you did that. So thank you. But it all started 26 years ago with Mark Chernoff, who was on my radio show yesterday. He was the guy that gave me my first chance after WNEW at WFAN, and it ended 10 years ago with Chad Lopez here at WABC. So for me, Jason Barrett, that was kind of the bookends. There were other people involved, obviously, but Mark Chernoff to Chad Lopez, kind of my history.
Well, and the funny thing about it, Sid, you're here today for the news conference. Tomorrow we have our sports conference. We have an award for programmers named after Mark Chernoff.
Oh, wow.
We have an award named after Jeff Smullian, who started sports radio, and tomorrow happens to be the anniversary of WFAN signing on. Yep. So we're doing our sports conference 39 years to the day when sports radio was born. And who's getting the Jeff Smullian Award? Chris Olivero.
Wow.
So you talk about the connections, and guess who's getting the Chernoff Award? Eric Spitz.
Oh, I love it.
The whole connection this year is pretty cool, and honestly, I didn't know it was going to happen that way when we started, but the way it's materialized has been a lot of fun.
Eric Spitz was my program director all those years at WFAN when Chernoff ran the show. And, of course, Chris Olivero now runs the show now. So I'd be remiss if I didn't do this because I feel like you become the go-to guy when it comes to radio. And I'm always trying to dispel the notion, this crazy theory, or maybe more like paranoia, that radio is going to go away, especially AM radio. I had this discussion with President Trump 6 weeks ago about keeping AM radio alive and well. Jason Barrett, you do this for a living at this point. You tell me, radio, is it anywhere near extinction?
No, It's not. Here's the only thing I think that we've got to understand is going to continue to happen. There's just going to be a lot of change to what radio is. Radio is content at the end of the day. Whether somebody gets it on your phone, whether they get it on a TV, whether they get it on a radio inside of a car, a phone, it's evolving. You're on YouTube, you're on, various places. And so everybody who listens to your brand of content can't get that if there is no WABC. And so I think naturally WABC evolves, and it has. That's one of the reasons Chad's, being recognized. He's done a fantastic job at making sure WABC digitally transforms. But the industry itself, there's never been a better time to be in the audio space, Sid. There's more options to listen to content today. Look at your show. It gets clipped every day. It winds up all over social. Well, is that radio or is that digital content? Is that Twitter content? No, that's radio content that just happens to be distributed in a different place. So you're in New York City, Sid. How many people are stuck on a road and listening to this right now?
A lot.
That's not going away until you show me that the highways are turned into electronic grids that only live on a phone and everybody streams. You're going to be alive and well. This is not going away anytime soon.
Jason Barrett, Barrett Media, today, tomorrow, these days, 3 days of amazing conferences with tremendous speakers and the all-time greats in our magnificent industry. All right, so on the way out, Jason Barrett, what are you most looking forward to, besides seeing me, these next couple of days?
It's always the connections with people, but honestly, Sid, for me, I'm the worst person to ask because my goal going in there is always get to Thursday 5:01. That means the show's done and it went well. So I produced this show so intensely, like people don't see, but I put 115 hours in the last week to build this show. And it's because every detail matters. Everything about the event, from sports, news, music, has to be right. And so what I hope, if somebody's in there for 45 minutes or for 3 days, they come away, they learn a lot of things, they make a lot of connections, but they also appreciate the attention to detail. It only works if you got good people on stage, showing up, being candid, and I think we've done a good job of that. But look, I know that as long as the room is full of the right people, it will always be a successful event. And then it's literally what you make of the time you're there. So I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody. But the producer in me for this show, and it goes back to my radio background, I'm thinking about session to session to session.
Sure.
I wish I could enjoy it more. My crew love it, but I obsess over every little detail.
That's why you guys are great. That's why you're great. That's why Barrett Media is great, because you do obsess over every detail. And trust me, Jason, you see it in the results. Can't wait to see you later on today, buddy. Continued success. You've done a tremendous job, and we'll have fun at 1:40 this afternoon. Jason Barrett, thank you so much.
You got it. I'll see you there, Sid.
All right, there he is. Jason Barrett, ladies and gentlemen. Barrett Media, it is the industry standard. You want news, opinions, anything, whether it's music, sports, news talk, nobody does it better than Jason and Barrett Media. We'll take a short break. 3 more hours to go on this, the Tuesday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?